Hello, and welcome. This is my first official video on YouTube. So, I have been looking for a creative outlet, a way to just share my gifts and share in a way of that I can create something that just feels fun to create. It feels light, and I decided to start this YouTube channel to share channeled readings, oracle card readings, just energy updates, things like that are just enjoyable to consume, enjoyable to create. So this is my first video. This one is going to be not a energy update that is timed for a specific time. It's more of whenever this video finds you, it is meant to find you. So in the future, I will be creating more that are this month energy update, maybe things for different signs if you're into astrology. We'll just see how it flows. I kind of am just gonna let this creative project flow how it may. But for today, if this video has found you, it is meant for you right now. So I'm gonna be pulling a few cards from one of my favorite decks, the Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Kyle Gray. I will link this deck also below in, I want to say the show notes because I'm used to being a podcaster, but it's going to be linked below in the description of this YouTube video. I may also be repurposing this onto my podcast too, so I'll link that down below if I do that as well. And if you're listening on the podcast, then it will be linked in the show notes. So I'm going to pull a few cards. I'm going to see what comes up for us today. So the way that I do oracle cards is I don't read from the books. So I just pull the cards. I see what's channeling through. If you don't know much about me, I will also link my Instagram below. I am an Akashic Record Reader. I'm an energy healer, psychic channel. I help others to open up their psychic gifts. So I love to just free flow and channel. I don't love to read a description out of a book. Okay, so let's see what the guides have for us today. So winter, take care of your needs. I'm gonna pull a few, we'll just see where we go. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have winter, we have the stargazer, set your sights higher, and we have spring, another season, see your seeds grow. So I definitely feel like one of the reasons I wanted to start this was because I feel like, some of the messages are going to be for me, but they're also going to resonate for other people as well. So I definitely feel like I resonate a lot with this. I feel like right now I'm in a season where I'm taking care of my needs, and that's part of why I'm creating this channel, wanting to turn inward a little and focus on what's nourishing me. And I feel like for me right now, that's nourishing more creativity. So I feel like when we often think about our needs and what we want, we think about our basic needs, what do I need? And when we think about winter, take care of your needs, sometimes this card can come up and is a physical need, right? It's take care of your health, look after yourself, move your body, nourish yourself, that kind of thing. But we also need to remember our emotional needs and our creative needs too. So this may not be coming up for you because you're needing to focus on a physical need and taking care of yourself, but it could be focusing on a need that you don't see as a need. So for me, this is creativity, right? We don't really think about having creative time as being a need. It's kind of a luxury maybe. And for some people it is a luxury, right? We don't often get time. I'm a busy mom. So me having time like this, right now my husband's with my son and I get to have a little bit of free time like this. So for some of us, we need to look at where our needs are not being met in a way because maybe we're not seeing them as needs. We're not seeing them as something that we need to have in order to feel nourished. And a lot of times too, I feel like the message coming through is around our own standards for ourselves and our own standards of the way we treat ourselves, the way we treat our bodies, our minds, our souls, right? Is raising the standard on that. Because I know, especially if you're a mom, if you might resonate with this, and even if you're not a mom, you'll probably resonate as well, is we often can put ourselves last, or put others' needs before us, or put the needs of our household or something like that ahead of our own needs and our own nourishment. And in that, we're kind of like, we're, yeah, like suppressing our own happiness, right? So we can, like, for me, like, I could say, well, you know, I eat well, I move my body, I have time with my family, like, my needs are met. I've got a beautiful home, a place to live, my needs are met. But I can also say, like, well, I don't have creative time. I don't have time for me to turn inward, to do something that sparks joy for me. And so my needs are not being met, right? Like, my creative needs are not being met. So I feel like this message it's kind of foggy, but hopefully it resonates for you. Like, maybe it's time for you to, like, start a new project, like start something you've been thinking of, do something in a more creative way. Yeah, like the guides are just kind of saying, like, look at the needs that you don't think are needs. Like, look at areas where you're like, I don't need that. Like, I don't need that to be happy, but you actually do. And you just maybe, like, don't want to admit that to yourself. And the same too with, like, the second card that's like, set your sights higher. It's like, for me, this just reinforces the message coming through around raising your standards, around raising the standards of what you desire for yourself. I think too, if you're, you know, into spirituality, or maybe you're a healer yourself like me, then, like, we can often, you know, prioritize other people over ourselves and our mission over ourselves and things like that. And it's like, there's also, like, the cycle of, like, the broke healer, like, not wanting to charge for your services, wanting to just give, right? And it's like, can we set our sights higher? Can we have higher standards? Can we desire more and want more for ourselves and for our lives, and let that be okay? You know, let that be okay to desire, and be willing to dream bigger. I feel like one of the, like, shadows of spiritual people is, like, we can often be very, like, humble and be very like, I don't need much, I don't desire much out of life, like, as long as I have, you know, the basic needs, I'm happy. And I feel like we get to have more, we get to desire more, we get to have, like, overflow in all areas of our life, with money, love, joy, abundance, freedom, right? We get to set our sights higher and desire more, and to have a higher standard, and to want more. And then spring, see your seeds grow. This is something I was literally just talking to a client about right before I hopped on to record this. We were talking about planting seeds, because she is one of my business coaching clients. So I was talking to her about, you know, she's just getting going with one of her, like, a business online. And I won't share too much about her for privacy, but she was kind of saying, like, you know, I want to be seeing more results, right? We always do in our business. So we were talking about planting seeds, and the idea of, like, when we're getting started, we have to be willing to plant seeds and wait for them to come to fruition. So we have to be willing to see the seeds grow in the spring. And I feel like that's kind of what this message is coming. It's not about planting seeds. I think it's about seeing the seeds grow. So this whole message coming through, what I'm really feeling is around raising your standards, making those changes, taking care of yourself, and then seeing the rewards of your seeds. And what's coming through is, like, a way to water the seeds that we've planted for the things we desire is by looking after our own needs, right? Like, we know, if you're in, you know, the manifestation space or anything like that, like, law of attraction is, like, when our vibration is higher, we're more of an energetic match for what we desire, right? Like, long story short. And so I feel like what is really coming through here is around, how can we look after our own needs in a higher vibrational way, like raising the standard on it, so that we're more of a match for that next level that we're desiring, for those seeds to grow and for us to see them growing and coming to fruition. So if you're manifesting something right now and you're feeling like, I'm putting in all this work towards it, I'm ready for spring, like, I'm ready for the seeds to be growing, right, that I've been planting in the winter is nourishing yourself. And I feel too, this is reminding me of the kind of concept around when you're in a gap between what you desire and where you're currently at, like when you're waiting to have that quantum leap or whatever you want to call it, who you are and who you're being in that gap dictates what's on the other side and how long the winter is. So that's really coming through as like when you're desiring to manifest something, but you're trying to speed up the winter, you're trying to like, you don't want to turn inward, you don't want to nourish yourself, you just want the thing now. You're not going to get it as fast, and you're not going to get it in a bigger way. Like, and I feel like that's where this is really coming in on setting your sights higher, is like when we're willing to go deep into the winter, we're willing to really nourish ourselves, we're willing to turn inward, take care of our needs, then when spring comes around, we're going to see those seeds growing way better, right? Like it's like the plants, right? When you water a plant, you take care of a plant, it grows. But when you neglect it, it doesn't. And so that's just really reminding me about like who you are being and the way you're acting and the way you're treating yourself is a huge reflection on every area of your life. Every area of your life is a mirror. So the way that you're treating yourself internally will reflect externally. So when you're nourishing your needs, looking after yourself, you're able to reap better rewards when the spring comes around. So hopefully that makes sense. I was going to pull another card, but I feel like this message is pretty complete. If it resonates for you, I would love for you to leave me a comment. I don't really know like how YouTube works. I'm just getting started with it. So leave a comment. I'll link some things in the description below. And is it like a thing to say hit subscribe? Hit subscribe because I'm going to be putting some more videos out in the coming weeks and months. I'll probably do like monthly energy updates, weekly energy updates. We'll see how it flows. If there's something you'd like to see, throw that in the comments as well. Connect with me on Instagram. Let me know if you watch this video. And thank you so much for being here for my first video. I hope this finds you at the perfect time where this message resonates and lands for you completely.